Okay, we are live. Yay! Welcome, Karen. It's good to have you here today. I am just going to set the stage here while we're waiting on people to get on. And I see we've got a couple of people coming on right now. Oh, I don't know if you heard that or not, but that was our first tech glitch. I got rid of it.
Good.
There
A
was
little bit of feedback.
little feedback. Yeah. Okay, so now we're ready to start, and I see we've got at least one person on. Might be you or me. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how this works, but I want to welcome those of you who are joining us now and those who will be joining us in the future. Today, I am honored to have Karen McMullen, a fellow human design traveler and guide and expert, here to talk about her perspective in her body as an emotional manifesting generator. I asked Karen to come on because I really want to serve the manifesting generator community with content, and I do have some videos, but it's all from the perspective of a projector who's not in a manifesting generator body. So Karen, I am so delighted that you agreed to come on. Do you want me to introduce you, or do you want to do it yourself?
I'd be curious to hear what your introduction is, but thank you.
Well, Karen and I are actually in.
Sorry, hold on a sec.
Oh,
my
okay.
phone.
Are
My
we good
phone
now?
just went off.
Oh gosh, mine might as well. So,
Rookie mistake.
yeah, this is why we set an intention for smooth technology, right? Let me just turn my volume off here. I'm just going to turn the phone off. Okay. Hold on, guys. I'm coming. We'll just
I'll introduce myself while we wait.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah,
Go
so
ahead.
I'm a manifesting generator. I came across human design, I think in 2014, and I had my reading, and it just dramatically changed my life because I realized, wow, I am not a successful businesswoman. I'm actually a burnt out, dissatisfied, frustrated generator. Like, because my barometer of success was one thing from my conditioning, but through this new lens, I was like, wow, I'm actually dissatisfied and frustrated and burnt out. So it really changed my worldview, like in an instant. And
Wow.
And then I got really into human design, kind of obsessed. I think some people can relate. They just hear human design and then they just have to know everything. And I took a sabbatical from my business and just studied human design and entered into the experiment like a crazy woman and kind of die hard. And I'm so glad I did, because in the process, I really discovered, who I really am. Not who I thought that I was. So yeah, I think that's the short version of my introduction.
Awesome. Yeah, and I'll make sure that I put like a link to your YouTube channel, because I've been following your YouTube channel for a while, and we ended up in a business type of group, would you call it that?
Yes.
Together. And when I saw your name, Karen, I said, I know her. I know of her. And it was through your YouTube videos. So I'm so glad that we've been able to kind of come full circle and actually meet and collaborate on something. I have loads of questions about being a manifesting generator, the theme, that not self theme of frustration that manifesting generators have, what it's like to be in your body, and all of that. But why don't we start with the basics of what is a manifesting generator?
Yeah, well, manifesting generator is someone that has a defined sacral center, which makes them the generator aura type. And I think that's really important to emphasize, that even though you are a manifesting generator, you still have the same aura properties as the generator. which is attractive and open and enveloping. So everything that's right for you is coming to you. And essentially, you're meant to be yin in the process of moving through life, is letting things come to you and then responding with your life force.
Yes.
So it's the same as the generator. And my teacher was really adamant about emphasizing that because, you know, one of the traits of the manifesting generator, because they have a motor to throat connection. So that's what makes them different than the generators. One or more of their motors is connected to the throat, because there's 4 motor centers. So they can really just want to get up and go because they have this energy connected to the throat. Oh, we got some people here. Hi.
Yeah.
So they want to move, and they can be very impatient and impulsive and just kind of want to initiate like a manifester. And so because of that, my teacher was so adamant about emphasizing that the manifesting generator really has that generator aura, and they're meant to wait to respond. And the waiting part of that cue can be really hard for the manifesting generator because they just want to go. But when they go and they just initiate a whole bunch of things as if they were a manifester, they end up really depleted and frustrated and dissatisfied. So I really related to that personally from my own experience.
Yeah. So when I feel a manifesting generator's aura, or a lot of manifesting generators, you know, I can't like do the whole blanket across the board thing, but a lot of time, or when I talk to other people who aren't manifesting generators, who are maybe very open and have a lot of undefined centers or open centers, that their first impression a lot of times they describe it, or I feel it the same way, as like being like this push. So would you say, again, this is kind of blanket, we're generalizing here, would you say that could possibly be a reflection of a manifesting generator who is in the manifester mode rather than their core frequency that comes from the sacral motor and the generator aspect of them that is connected or is reflected in their open, attractive, and enveloping aura?
Yeah, I would say, well, you know, it reminds me of the channel 3420, which is called like the classical manifesting generator channel. And if you look at the gene keys, the shadow of that channel is force. And then, you know, the exalted is, you know, majesty or power. And so it's like power versus force. And I think that for me as a manifesting generator was such a huge revelation to realize how much I was pushing and forcing things in my life. And unfortunately, oftentimes it actually works. Like it actually works for the manifesting generator to push and force in terms of getting results. Like I built a lot of success in my coaching business before by pushing things forward. So, and, you know, to an outsider, that can definitely seem pushy. Hi, Zachary. Yay.
Hi, Zachary.
Nice to see you. So I think that, yes, I think that the manifesting generator, when they're forcing, and also like when I'm working alone in my own little world, which is what I prefer to be doing, is working in my own world with no one interrupting me or like having to talk to anyone about what I'm doing. I'm just doing it. Like I'm just going about my thing, and I like to work kind of like quickly and just get things done. But the moment I'm interacting with another person and I'm trying to work as a team, I think that's also where it can feel like I'm trying to force the other person, because oftentimes the other person wants to do things at like a slower pace than what I want to do. And so I'm inherently frustrated and like impatient with the process when I'm trying to work with someone else.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. And I don't have your chart here, but I know before we got on, we were talking about your channels and the circuitry that you have in your chart, where the majority of it is in that individual integration circuitry, which is about just wanting to get it done on your own. Plus you have that classical 3420 individual response. The thing comes, you respond, and you move on it. And yeah, I can see I can see how you are very much hardwired to be in your own world, and but all of that power that comes through when you're, have that opportunity to interact with someone else can really, I can see, if you're not in that yin place that you talked about in the beginning of being the generator first, the one who waits for the things to come to respond to, that push is, yeah, that's what I've been feeling, that push.
Yeah, and it can be really hard because our minds, right? We're all working with our minds regardless of our design. But, my mind can come up with a million ideas every single day of what I should do and what I could be doing. And and then I can get in my head about like, oh, I really want to create X result. I should have created this thing. And then when I go and work on something from that place, I can really have that forceful energy to it, because I'm actually just trying to force a result rather than just following what my life force is guiding me in the moment.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about your life force guiding you in the moment? What does that feel like for you?
Yeah. So I think, well, I have emotional authority. So the way I look at it is I have like the defined sacral, which all manifesting generators have. And that's that beautiful life force energy that is available for certain things. It's a yes, it's a to certain things, and it's an to other things. And it's quite specific and sophisticated. And I think I want to emphasize that, because I think a lot of people think of the generators and the manifesting generators as having a ton of energy. And in my experience, that's not really true. Like it has been true in certain moments in my life, but I think it's affected a lot by different factors, such as if you're a 6 line and you're on the roof. Like I have been on the roof. Like I slept for years after in my deconditioning process. I was so tired.
Wow.
From like a lifetime of rushing around. I really rested for years in my deconditioning process and really learned to meditate. I can sit and meditate for hours. I laid on the couch for 3 hours this morning when I woke up. Like I was tired and just kind of lazy. Until I, looked at the roses and I was like, wow, they really need to be trimmed to look more alive. And so I got up to fix the roses, and then I went and had a shower, and then like doing stuff. So it's like your energy responds to life. There's a connection there, and it's organic, it's natural, and it's unfolding. And in my case, because I have emotional authority, so 50% of manifesting generators are going to have emotional authority. So I look at the emotional authority as like the ambassador of the sacral. They're usually on the same page. Like I will get a sacral response. I'll be like, to something, but then the emotions over time give more nuance and insight. So they're in relationship, and what I feel emotionally will end up being supported by my sacral life force.
Nice. Yeah. I love how you said that. I've never heard it quite put that way, that your defined emotional center, your emotional authority is the ambassador for your sacral. That's really beautiful. Yeah, wow. Can you elaborate on that just a little bit more?
Yeah, let me try to think of an example. Um, I can't think of an example in this moment, but basically, when you have the sacral center, you're basically always wanting to make decisions about what you actually have energy available for, what you truly resonate with. And if you have sacral authority, you're looking for that gut response, that Some people feel it as like, oh, I'm lit up, or I'm just shut down or contracted. But when you have emotional authority, you're getting all this other input from your feelings of like a high, a low, and in the moment, I try to base my decisions on how I feel. So if, like, for example, when I met you, it was just such a thrill. First of all, you came through my network, which is so awesome as a 4/6.
4/6, yeah.
It's incredible to notice how people are coming to me through YouTube, but then they're also mysteriously in my network already. It's just crazy.
I love it.
So anyway, you came through my network, and like, to me, it was an all-in-one response. It was it was a sacral and it was just a very clear, expansive yes to collaborate and to connect. So sometimes it's all in one. It's just clear, and the emotional response doesn't have to always take time. If you are clear emotionally, it can just emerge in the moment. But sometimes, something doesn't quite feel right. I'll give one example from my friend, who's such a wise human design teacher. Wade Pajar is his name. I asked him once if he would do readings for my clients. This was sort of back in the day when I was more like in my successful coaching era. And I just sent him a quick email. Like, I was at the event. I just had this idea. I was like, oh my God, I should sell something. Oh my God, it should be my friend Wade. Like, email him in the moment, right? And I emailed him, and he just felt into it for a moment. And he said, I feel this undercurrent of something being not fair or blah, blah, blah. So he felt intuitively something not right about the transaction. And I was completely unaware of that dimension. But when he reflected it back to me, I thought, oh, wow, he's right. I am kind of trying to take advantage of him in some way in this interaction. So,
wow.
So his emotional authority, because he's also an emotional manifesting generator, was protecting his sacral, his life force.
Oh, that's really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So he, we didn't go ahead with that because it wasn't a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah. And just from what you described, of it wasn't actually a sacral response for you. It was more like, oh, here's this idea.
Exactly.
He wasn't in the room, right?
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Wow. Yeah, that's such a great example of discerning. And and I wonder if you had not been with someone who was really in their own body, in their design, and could feel that through, if that I could just see the road being paved for the frustration. Both ways, probably.
Exactly.
If that wasn't if he wasn't actually feeling his way through that. Wow.
I have actually another magical story of that, if I can.
Sure.
So years ago, I had a woman approach me about doing a reading, and she was quite a well-known leader, and it was it would have been a good thing to do. She bought the reading from my website, and I got the order, and then I sat with it for a few days. I looked up her chart, and I just didn't feel right about doing the reading. And I did have on my page at the time, I was like, I'm going to receive your order, and if it doesn't feel right, I will refund you. So I sat with it for some days, and then I just felt, I don't know why, but I don't feel right about doing this reading. And it was a completely normal chart and everything. Um, like it wasn't some random reflector, like that would have been a difficult reading, but it was normal reading. I said no, and I refunded her. She was upset, and she was a colleague, so it wasn't a very nice interaction, but because I didn't want to disappoint her. Years later, 4 or 5 years later, I meet her at a leadership conference. And she said, Karen, I'm so into human design now. I went to 4 people for readings, and no one was telling me anything that was resonating until I realized that I had the wrong birth time and that I was actually a generator, not a projector.
Oh, wow.
And I just was like, oh, thank you for telling me this, because it would have been really hard on me because as a 4, like 4s aren't well suited to meet resistance to their influence. It would have been really hard on me to do a reading for someone that wasn't resonating with what I was saying. So that was another example of my emotional authority protecting my life force.
Very interesting. It is really magical how that wasn't. And I would imagine that, how did your sacral feel, or can you remember back that far? Were you really responding, or were you?
I guess I focus more on my authority. I think I focus more on my emotional authority once something comes to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So do you feel like, even if you've responded to something, that your emotional authority is really, that your response will change over time because of your emotional authority?
If there's certain moments in my life where I have a really strong sacral response to something, but it's like maybe once or twice a year where something comes along and I'm just like, there's a real huge like a huge response that's undeniable. And that's the most magical thing. And then usually, like, I met a business mentor recently, and I had such a strong sacral response to her, but then I was also crying. And it took me a few weeks to process all the emotions around potentially working with her before I actually signed up.
Oh, wow.
So I had a sacral response, and then weeks went by where I was just dealing with the fallout of that.
Wow. With just sort of getting through your emotionals ups and downs until you could get to that point where you could be clear to move forward on it. That's incredible. So how do you, like, one of the major challenges that I have when I'm working with manifesting generators and generators, especially when they're really new to their design, is that they have at times, or a lot of manifesting generators and generators have trouble getting in touch with their sacral response. So do you have any tips, or I don't want to say tricks, that like cheapens everything, but you know what I mean? Like, what's your wisdom on that?
Yeah, a couple things. Well, there's different parts of the cue wait to respond. And the first thing that I would say is be patient, because for the first year of my experiment with human design, I just said, for this entire year, I am just going to experiment with these 3 words, wait to respond, and see what happens. I'm going to learn and discover what that means experientially by living it and exploring it. And so there's a lot of impatience with human design, but human design is an unfolding of awareness that over time. So like part of it is learning to wait for something to come to you. So throughout the day, like one thing you can do is just notice what actually comes to you. Notice what email you got, notice what phone call came through, notice what friend connects with you that unexpectedly. Notice the weather outside and how you're responding to it. notice which food in the fridge is all of a sudden rotten that you need to throw out. Like just notice your environment and what is actually calling for your attention from your environment. So there's that piece of it, because that's the part of like that you are meant to respond to what comes to you.
Like the roses that you mentioned earlier, that you were laying on the couch this morning and then you looked over at the roses and they needed water, and that
I like want them all beautiful again.
Yeah.
So exactly. So there's that piece, and it's really cool because when you do that, all of a sudden you slow down. You don't do as much in life, and this is something that I believe is that human design is here to teach us how to live at an organic pace of unfolding, which our conditioning has taught us is not how we should live. Our conditioning tells us we should produce, and we should be like on this hustle mode. So even just learning to wait, in the waiting part, in the allowing yourself to just be, you are going to be confronted with your conditioning and with your discomfort with just being. And so, learning to, do things like be present, breathe, feel, and that can help to have like someone like you or like a coach, someone that helps you to be present with yourself, to just notice your body sensations, breathe, feel.
Yeah.
So that's, I think, the beginning foundational points is like to learn to be present and to feel your body, to notice the sensations, and then you can start to notice like, wow, I have so much life force available for this thing that I never thought. Like, it's so fun with, that's the fun of being a generator, is you get to know and discover who you are just by having these responses to things you never would have thought. Like, when I was in Mexico, I became an avid salsa, bachata, kizomba dancer. Like, dancing emerged as this huge part of my life that I never imagined would be who I am. And my sexual self, because in my design, my sexuality is featured prominently in my incarnation cross, but it's all unconscious. So it's like my body, woo, but my mind is like, oh, I'm a busy, charismatic person,
Yeah. Wow.
So we get to discover who we are by having these responses. But I think it takes patience, because we are really taught to live from the mind and from the personality. So it's natural not to be in your body. It's not natural, but it's very common. Let's put it that way.
That's fantastic. At the beginning of the year, I put out a video somewhere, just a very simple video encouraging all of the human design enthusiasts who are watching my videos to really take this year to ask yourself 2 questions. And I think you're really honing in on this through your own the expression of your own experience here. Is the number one, how is my body feeling? And in every moment that is possible, to tune into our body sense. Well, as a generator, manifesting generator, this is where the life is, right there in the sacral center. So how is my body feeling? What is my mind doing? And just being aware that the mind's going to do what the mind's going to do, but it's the body. And I love how you really illuminated the piece about just noticing what's in your environment that you're responding to. What is it? What is there to respond to in your environment? As simple as opening the refrigerator and seeing that
Yes.
piece of rotten fruit, you know?
Yeah.
Wow.
Another example that's just coming to mind is when I was living in Mexico, I really let my business disintegrate, and I was kind of anyway, I was in this moment where I really didn't have a lot of work, and I was like going broke, and I was like, wow, I really need some money to pay my rent. And so then the mind clues in. It's like,
Mm.
okay, I've got to generate some ideas of how I'm going to make this money.
I'm a generator, right? That's not how it works.
so, so my entrepreneurial self is like, oh, I'll put some things out online. I'll create XYZ program or offering, blah, blah, blah. But I didn't really have life force for that. It's not genuinely like a desire. So what showed up to respond to was a friend of mine got a burn injury, and she needed to be driven to the local town. And she asked me if I would want to drive her back and forth every day for a couple weeks instead of a taxi driver, because she was going to have to pay a taxi driver anyway. And then we could hang out and chat. So my ego would be like, oh, well, I'm not a taxi driver. Like, I'm a coach. I've got all this life experience and wisdom, blah, 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 blah. But, like that was something showing up to respond to. And so I did that with her, and it paid my rent for that moment. And we had the most amazing connection that emerged as a result of those car rides. It was so satisfying and beautiful. So it's like we can't imagine what life has in store for us.
Yeah. For all of us. And I, with, as a sacral being, I think it's just so, it's kind of sacred. Like, sacral beings, manifesting generators and generators, embody that consistent motorized life energy. And to just be able to go with it, and to know in your body, to know through your response, without the mind interfering, I can just feel how that just makes the entire fabric of humanity right. Like, like when you're in your flow with your response to life, and regardless of what it looks like, regardless of what the mind has to say about it, you're using your life force energy to build and create things that make life worth living. And your time with your friend was that life worth living.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Very, very beyond even like getting out of frustration, which is the title of this interaction that we're having. Getting in that flow is just, beyond frustration is that flow of the sacred use of your life force. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it's so funny because frustration is it's almost like a distant memory for me. And like, I don't experience a lot of frustration currently in my life, but it used to be such a theme. And so I think for anyone that is, oh, nice. Hello, Drac, just joined us.
Yeah, hi.
I think anyone that is in the beginning of their experiment, one of the first things that you can do is just notice where you experience frustration in your life and stop doing those things. And like, one of the things I stopped doing right away, because I used to have a lot of sales calls as a part of being a coach. That was how people would start coaching with me, is I would do a one-on-one consultation first. And I hated those calls. I hated doing them. Like, I didn't ever feel like doing them.
Mhm. Uh-uh.
And now I look back, why was I doing them? But my mind was like, well, I have to do them. I have to have these calls. Otherwise, how am I going to have clients? So anyway, just stop doing the things that frustrate you as soon as possible.
Yeah, and it seems so counterintuitive, right? It's like even in the little things. I'm so glad you said that because I have been when I'm working with generators and manifesting generators who are really in that frustration mode. I have started to tell them to just do the counterintuitive thing wherever possible, and just not do the thing that you don't have the energy to do.
Exactly.
You don't want to let your kids starve, but but beyond that, if you don't really want to mow the lawn, don't mow the lawn right now.
Exactly. And it doesn't mean you won't have energy to mow the lawn later. It's like sometimes I'll be working on the computer. I feel like I can make technology break. I'm sure other people have this too, but like when I'm working on the computer and then all of a sudden something's not going and it's not working and I start to get frustrated, it's like, oh, this is not the right use of my energy at this moment. So I'll just go. I'm frustrated. This isn't the right use of my energy right now. Go do something else. It's really that simple. Your frustration is like that little bumper things on the side of the road that let you know, oh, I'm veering off track. Like what would be honoring of my life force in this moment?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm looking at our time and I'm feeling like we want to bring it to a close here pretty soon. Carolyn has a comment that maybe I'm wondering if you want to respond to that. Pure manifesting generator, feeling the same level of frustration right now and couldn't put a finger on what it is. Lots of body pain. Yeah.
Oh,
Do you
yeah.
have a response to that? Do you have some wisdom for her?
It's, I wonder where she's at in terms of like how old she is as a 3-6, if she's on the roof.
Yeah, on the roof being like roughly between the ages of 30 and 50.
Yeah. But what I would recommend, I mean, so the way I look at human design is an awareness tool. Oh, 72. Okay. So human design is an awareness tool, and our awareness can guide us to different things, different tools, different modalities. In terms of pain and exhaustion, to me, those are cues from the body. So the body is speaking and it's saying, it's communicating. So I actually on my YouTube channel have a video, what's it called? Something about the pain body. So if you searched pain body, you could find it, but it's really guiding you through a process of how to listen to your body when you're experiencing pain. So in this situation, I would recommend using a tool outside of human design to work with what's showing up. And that's the way I look at it. It's like human design is showing us what kind of vehicle we have, but then we're in life, we're learning about ourselves. I personally, if I had to choose a number one tool in life, I would say meditation is more important than human design. So we need to use different things to allow us to see what life is showing us. And working, and I really believe that pain is something for us to work with, like something, it's always communicating something. It's always showing us something. And if we can really listen with an open awareness, you'll learn. And one of the gifts of pain is learning to be very, very present in a powerful way in the moment. So that's what I would say to you, Carol. And I would also say resting is so awesome. I have rested so much since I learned human design. Oh my goodness.
I am so glad that you have shared your experience with that, because the stereotypical understanding of manifesting generators is, that you go, 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 right? That you have all of this energy to go, 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 but you really do know when to rest.
Exactly.
And I, as a projector, a lot of times I rely on my generator and manifesting generator friends to for me to understand when enough is enough. If we're working on a project or something and they go and they sit down on the couch, I know that I needed to do that 15 minutes ago.
Right. Yeah. And then also, whatever we have defined in our chart, we can use that in an unhealthy way. Like, just because, like, I had the 3420, which is about being busy, that channel. And I used that to just run myself into the ground. Like, I was exhausted, I was burnt out. So, it's not just the non-sacral beings that can really burn out. Like, the archetype of the generator in its shadow would be the slave, who is working beyond the actual the boundaries of their energy. So I think when you do that for years, there's like a backlog of rest that's really needed.
Absolutely. It regardless of your energy type, if you've been living not not in alignment with the way that you're hardwired to use your energy, you're going to burn out. Yeah. Yeah. So I see that Joe's on. Thank you, Joe, for being here. She's a projector, I think. Yeah, Joe, you're a projector. Yeah, trying to help your frustrated bird. I knew there were a few people, projectors out there with generator and manifesting generator partners that would want to tune into this. And Lorena, currently on the roof, lots of resting. Yes, yes. Awesome. Yeah, well, before we get off of here, I want to make sure that everyone knows about your awesome YouTube channel. It's and I'll put a link down below in the description, but it's Karen McMullen, Human Design and Channeled. How is that
channeled guidance? Yeah, but if
channeled guidance.
If they just look up my name, Karen McMullen, it comes up.
Yeah. Yeah. And I definitely want to have you back on to talk about channeling at some point, and I think that's going to be an awesome conversation, really interesting conversation. And you have a book that I love for you. I know it's back there.
Yeah, my book, I'm very proud of this, Alchemy of Consciousness. So this is a book I channeled, which was a kind of really surprising part of my process, was that I started hearing a voice while I was meditating, and I wrote down what it was saying to me, and it turned into a really beautiful book. There's actually a chapter in this book about pain, Carolyn, that you might really find valuable. But yeah, that's a part of my journey as well. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming on and sharing your experience as an emotional manifesting generator, and also just sharing you and your ability, your holistic presence, because we've touched on a lot of little different things that aren't strictly human design, which I really feel enriches the conversation and raises the level of awareness all the way around. So I appreciate your presence, and appreciate that you're willing to come on, and I really appreciate that being part of your network and having you as part of mine.
Yes, I love it. I mean, I feel like we could go on for hours, so I hope we do this again.
Yes, let's do this again. I'm really, I'm hoping that's an invitation to have you on again. Awesome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, and you're very welcome. I really want you guys go check out Karen's YouTube channel. I just love it. I was lurking there for a while before I even knew that we were part of the same network, and she's got some great stuff over there, and it's really pretty, unlike mine.
Right.
But I mean, yeah. Well, I'm using you as your channel as inspiration, so.
That's awesome.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And I'll make sure I put your contact links down below. And yeah, we'll have you on again sometime soon. Take care, everyone. And thank you, Karen.
Thank you so much, Sandy.